Hi guys, and welcome to, we're now entering week 3 of the Public Relations Principles. This is Dr. Jessica Freeman. I am happy to kind of talk with you guys a little bit this week about some of the upcoming items that we have going on, as well as the stuff that you've turned in this week. So I want to start by just updating you on what's going on with the final project, which for this 4-week quick class is the Media Kit. So some of you have emailed me and said that the list was outdated. Yes, I did have an outdated list up on D2L for a while from last summer that was sort of a placeholder, so I apologize for the confusion there, but it was just holding the place. I have gone ahead and I have updated the list of the Media Kit groups. So each of you has been assigned to a pair, and then there's one odd group of 3 because of the number in the class. But each of you has been assigned to a group, and you can basically access that by going to the Press Kit Assignment tab and then going to Press/Media Kit Assignment and then the Media Kit Semester Groups document. And that list is accessible there. Also, you should be able to follow a link from this particular news update. And so that should let you know who your partner is for this particular project, which is due the very last week of class. You can check the syllabus for all of the due dates for everything. So that is due the final week of class, but that is very quickly coming upon us, right? We have just a little over 2.5 weeks, believe it or not, left in the class. So I have updated that for you here so that you can go ahead and start working on that item. Now you'll notice also under that Press Kit Assignment tab that there is an assignment sheet that very specifically lays out for you what I am going to be looking for. Ultimately, for this assignment, you are charged with, number 1, picking a product, a novel type of product. I've given you a few links to help you find one. And so you can pick a product that you find interesting and that also lends itself to the parameters of this assignment. So make sure that it's a product that you can find all of the information that you need, that you're not making anything up, that that information is available online. You're going to probably have to do some research on the product itself beyond just the link that I provided you. So you'll pick a product, number 1, and then you'll essentially prepare what we call a press kit or a media kit, which is ultimately going to be a set of documents that can be given out by your organization to media outlets and organizations so that when they come to you, you have a bunch of documents that you can hand them that familiarizes them with the product and ultimately with how it might be a valuable thing for their media organization to cover or pick up, right, for their news program or news story. And so you're preparing that press kit. You're going to prepare a couple of different items, being a Q&A, being a press release, also being a fact sheet, and you're going to sprinkle some photos. Now, you don't have to take those photos yourself. You're going to pull those offline, but you're going to put those photos throughout. I am looking at things like overall good content. I realize that this is not a design class and we all come from different design backgrounds, so I'm not necessarily looking to see that this is going to be designed in design or advanced design programs, but you can do a lot even in Word, in Microsoft Word, Office, that kind of stuff. So I do want you to make it look as pretty and as branded as possible. So those are a few hints for that media kit project and assignment. So make sure you're starting to work on that, to get in touch with your partner. Do not leave it for the last minute because that's why I give this to you up front. Let me know if there are any problems getting in touch with your partner in the next week or so, and if it is a problem, we'll work through that. But ultimately, you're going to be preparing that, putting it in a PDF format. All of the documents that you'll turn in will be put in a PDF format, and along with your group, you will be able to navigate through through the groups tab to go to a Dropbox that is specifically for your group. And ultimately, when you're done, one of the group members, not all of them, but just one of them, can go ahead and upload to your specific group's D2L Dropbox for this particular item. And you'll upload that and it should auto-populate for all of the members in the group, right? So that I can see that all of these members have turned this in this one time. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know sooner than later. That always helps. It's easier to get those questions now or in the next week or two versus at the very end of the semester when there's not a lot I can do. But I do want you to start working on that assignment now. Along with that, just a few reminders. We do have our weekly quiz that is up and should be completed by this coming Wednesday. So make sure that you're up on the weekly quizzes. Along with that, you do have your next upcoming case study that is up and should be prepared and uploaded by Friday. So make sure that you are up on that one as well. This upcoming case study has to do with the social media posts and decisions by two very different police departments as organizations and the ultimate public relations implications for those choices. So I want you to look at those closely and think about overall kind of ethically how they approach that situation. Along with that, you will notice that I have already gone ahead and graded the second case study, which looked at specifically the posting of, I believe it's the Liverpool, Ohio Police Department, right, that did post pictures of a couple. It was a grandmother and her partner who had overdosed in the front seat of a car with the grandchild in the back seat. And ultimately, you guys had some really interesting thoughts on this. You will notice that I have given you some feedback in the comments section, so make sure you look for that as well as the grade, so that should be there for you. But a couple of interesting comments that I noticed overall from you guys. First of all, some of you, it was very split from the class on whether or not you thought this was an ethical approach as far as posting this picture at all. Number one, the biggest element that pretty much everyone pointed out was, should the child have been in the photo? Number one, because the child had no part in making this decision. It was a public place, but still, ethically speaking, a lot of you had concerns with, should the child have been in the photo at all? And if the child was in the photo, should his face have been blurred out? And what I can tell you is that in the original post by the police department, the face, as you could see, was not blurred out. In subsequent postings by media organizations who covered this, some of them did choose in their own coverage and posts to ultimately blur the child's face out. But unfortunately, once something's out there, like, you know, it's gone. And so that child, unfortunately, now has his face on the internet associated with this forevermore. And certainly there are ethical concerns. It's a traumatizing situation. Should that have been the approach by the police department? Some of you also pointed out, should the adults have even been featured in this photo? Did it do more harm than good? Often we see drug addiction as a disease. There is certainly that mindset by a lot of people that drug addiction is as much a disease as diabetes or something else. And so some of you did question, should the adults have even been featured in the photo, that they're in a vulnerable situation? Was that an ethical choice by the police department? And as it tends to go with these situations, there's no right or wrong answer. Certainly there were concerns from people who saw this photo in the community and in media coverage who did voice their kind of concerns with the photo. There was some backlash certainly toward the police department. There were other people who, as similar to some of your thoughts, did think though that it ultimately taught the community a little bit about what police officers face every day in the drug crisis that we're dealing with in the United States, right? And so certainly there's no right or wrong answer here, but there are concerns. I will say that I did also have some really interesting answers for the last question on the case study number 5, where I asked you guys to post examples of similar sorts of situations where an organization did decide to post or put out a document or a photo that ultimately there were some public relations concerns that it reflected perhaps poorly on the organization that ultimately posted it. And so I have gone ahead, I created a new tab under the content section called, I believe it's PR Media Gone Wrong. And so if you guys are interested in looking at what your classmates posted, some other examples of this type of situation, I have posted that for you there. So thanks for those. They were really interesting to read, and I appreciate that. Aside from that, that's all I've got for you this week. I will have one more video coming up next week with the last overview for week 4. And otherwise, just let me know in the meantime if you have questions about upcoming assignments or dates or anything else. I'm happy to communicate with you via text or phone or also email. Let me know sooner than later. I can do a lot more in the next couple of weeks versus at the very end of the semester when we're kind of coming up against the deadline. So let me know. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you're having a wonderful summer and a wonderful week. Thanks so much. Take care.